Good morning. So, as always, first up, I just want to say good morning, and I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is staying healthy, washing their hands, sneezing into a tissue like TikTok Hamster taught us. Um, I hope that everything's going well for you at the most basic physical level. Everyone is staying healthy. Um, Today, I will be using my office hours for a little while to give people a chance to get in and practice with the Google Meet platform and interact a little bit there. I caught a couple of you like last night pretty late, so I know that it is at least working. Go to bed earlier, but I know that it is at least working. So hopefully today will give us a good start there. So today I want to talk about the proverbial elephant in the room, and that is, COVID-19, coronavirus disease 2019. We talked about it in class. We talked about the potential implications, the things that could happen, but I think to say that escalated quickly is really an understatement, right? It escalated very, very quickly. So, for the most part, I've been doing a pretty good job on kind of regulating my fears surrounding this and trying to remember, facts, not fears. Stick with what we actually know, not what I might be kind of just going like, oh, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? But last night, I'll be honest, I kind of hit a little bit of a breaking point with this strategy. And last night was the night when I went, oh my gosh, this is really scary. I started looking at the news and I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh my gosh. But that, and I found so many things that were just terrifying. And it was rough. The situation was not good. And I'll also be honest in saying that I handled that with a lot more cheesecake than I should. On the upside, I'm also getting very good at making cheesecakes. So let's take a day, not a whole day, but like 3 or 4 minutes out of the day, and talk a little bit about fears. What do we do with them? Is there a purpose to them? Especially in a time like this, is what do we make of them? What do we do with our fears? So, in a lot of ways, fear is not good for us. Perpetually feeling fear leads to an elevation in a hormone called cortisol that does all kinds of weird things to your body, and things like that. And furthermore, it's unpleasant, right? We don't want to just live paralyzed by fear and live in a way where we're just constantly like, oh my gosh, I turned the page in a book, I could wash my hands. We don't want to paralyze ourselves. We want to be able to enjoy life, while acknowledging that, like, we're in a scary situation. Now, if we're following our procedures for mitigation of this disease, washing our hands, keeping our surfaces clean, avoiding crowded places, push away corona. If we're doing those things, we can be a little less scared, but still, it's a global situation where we know a lot of people are suffering, and that is scary. Those people are not so different from us. Those people have loved ones like we do. They have jobs that they care about like we do, or like I do, I guess. You guys just wait. Your time will come. Don't be in a hurry to get there. So, what do we do to get past fears? And certainly there are some crippling fears out there, and for some of us, it's much harder to deal with those and deal with the anxiety surrounding those than it is for others. So what do we do? What do we do when we hit those moments when we're going, oh no, oh no, oh no? And it feels like our eyes are going to pop out of our heads because we're so scared. One thing first, you need to understand that your brain, that mass of mostly fatty tissues and neurons and all those things in the middle of your skull, it has to acknowledge fear before you can process it, before you can move on from it. We, I think, a lot of times do what's called avoidance. I start getting scared, and all of a sudden, I have just learned on YouTube um, how to install a light bulb and a type of chandelier that I'll never have in my house. Why? Why do we do this? To avoid dealing with what we need to deal with. Um, so first and foremost, our brains, we have to acknowledge it. We have to go, yep, I'm scared. I'm scared. I am experiencing fear. This situation is giving me stress and anxiety. I am going to acknowledge my fear, and we can do that in a lot of ways. The one that I think is probably the most practical in this situation is to just identify your fear. Um, Mine is I will get sick and be unable to care for my child, or my child will get sick and I'll be unable to help him. Those are my big fears, that one of you will get sick and I will, not be able to help. Um, so I have to acknowledge that fear, identify it, and then just sit with it. Don't do it for too long. Don't just sit and stew in your fear for ages, but take 2 or 3 minutes and imagine, like, okay, what would it be like if this happened? How would I feel? And kind of go through those feelings with yourself for a couple of minutes. And then put it away. Just imagine that you're boxing it up. You guys are too young to understand the joys of Bob Newhart, but he had a great sketch a few years ago where he was giving someone advice on, a chronic fear, a phobia. And his advice was, when it gets overwhelming, just stop it. Just stop thinking about it. And that's funny, the idea, any of us that have ever experienced fear that we just can't turn off, whether, for a few minutes, few days, whatever. The idea of someone coming along and going, oh, you're scared about that? Just stop. Just don't do that. It seems crazy, but there's something to be said for it. So sit with your fears for a few minutes, then stop it. Find something else to do. Like I mentioned yesterday, practicing gratitude. This is something that reduces anxiety and reduces fear. Categorically, it has been shown to be one of the more effective strategies. If you are worried about the things that you might lose, that's a great way to realize what things are important to you. And if you realize those things are important to me, I am scared of losing them, you've made a huge step in practicing gratitude. If you take it a step further and go out and go, okay, I'm scared about this, but look at everything else I have to be thankful for. Suddenly, the proportion that fear is taking that's just overwhelming you, it's smushed down and it becomes a much smaller ratio of your overall thoughts. Keep in mind, emotions, fear, these sorts of things, they're experiences we're having, right? They're not who we are. We are not defined by our fears. We are not the sum of our fears. We are ourselves. We are people that are enormously complex, magnificently complex, amazingly complex. I don't even know how to explain the complexity of people. And emotions are things we feel. So kind of think of it like when we talked about in the ocean, and we have waves going through the water, and as the waves move through the water, what's actually happening is the water is staying in the same place. It's the same water. Energy moves through it, pushes it up, and then the energy is gone and the water is right back to where it was. Fear is the same. It will move through you like energy through water. It will raise you up, elevate you, scare you a little bit, and then it passes. And we need to think about it that way. We need to think of it as something that will pass. Keep moving. Don't let yourself get frozen in fear. Literally, if you think like, oh no, like get up and do something else. And yeah, I know a few minutes ago I said that could be avoidance, but the important thing is don't get frozen. Keep moving in things. Find humor. Sometimes addressing fear with humor is a great thing to do. Um, and even if that means finding humor that's not related to your fear, that's fine. You just need to find something that works and find something that keeps you from getting stuck in just that horrible feedback loop that fears and anxieties can give us. Um, just do something else. And my final piece of advice here, I'm running a really long video today and I didn't really mean to, is understand that non-stop checking the news is not going to help you. This is probably more of a problem for adults. But keep in mind, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Remember, look to your respectable organizations, the World Health Organization, the CDC. These are the places you're going to get really like good, accurate information. Don't just sit and watch the news. When you do, you are hearing the most alarming things out there because that's what keeps people watching, right? No one wants to hear all the boring things like, yeah, I have COVID-19 and I don't feel great, but I'm keeping hydrated and I'm I'm fine. Those cases, and remember, the majority of cases are those cases. They don't make the news. The ones that are really scary make the news. So checking in on it constantly, not a good idea. Really not a good idea. And furthermore, it's a waste of your time. Is it important to stay informed about what's going on in your region and what can impact your life? Yes. Is it good to check in once a day and go, okay, I kind of know what's going on in the global situation? Cool. Or not cool. Actually, no, cool was a bad choice of words. But you know what I'm saying. Check in once a day, maybe even twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. Get your facts. That's it. Keep informed, but don't keep too informed. Nothing about you knowing all this information is going to change the situation. The only thing it's going to change is your anxiety level and your stress level. And trust me, we don't need help getting those up. So find something else to do. Acknowledge your fears. Sit with them for a few minutes. Check in with someone. If you need to take a minute and check in and say, hey, I'm not doing so great. Google Meets up a lot. You have people to check in with. You can check in with friends. We might not want to do it face to face at the moment for obvious reasons, but there are ways to check in. Go to your online classes. And if you need to say, hey, Miss J, I'm feeling it today, I'll say, me too. Me too. Let me recommend a yoga video, or let me recommend a TikTok hamster. Something to kind of get us through this together. So again, remember, we are all in it together. The best thing we can do right now is stay home, stay apart, and that's kind of the hardest thing to hear when you're scared. It really is, but we are alone together. I'm really tired of seeing those commercials pop up all the time, but the sentiment is absolutely right. We are alone together. And if we need to make opportunities to be together, I probably will have a screaming baby with me or like a cat pushing over my drinks. But I'm here. I'm here to help however I can. I'm not a licensed professional, but I'm a decent listener. Mostly because I actually am at the point of craving the sound of human voices that are over the age of one. But anyway, I'll be a great listener. So, you guys take care, stay well, wash your hands, do all the things, and keep focused on something good because there are so many good things in the world. Don't miss out on them because you're scared.